There are four massive changes happening in dance music and like in technology and culture in general, but they're affecting dance music. And it's opening up opportunities for upcoming artists in a way that haven't existed in the last 10 years. If you're an artist that's been trying to do something over the last 1, 5, 10, 15 years, it's been tough. If you have no traction and you're not releasing on big labels or doing big things, it's been tough to get going. But there are forces moving that are changing things wildly, and they're all playing off each other. And in the training you're about to watch, it's actually a private client training where I ran my clients through these four trends that are changing, how they're going to affect DJs, how that's going to affect you, and how you can capitalize on it. Because there's a short window opening. This won't last forever. These trends are kind of creating opportunities that are going to close as quickly as they open. And it's the people who rush in now and take advantage of them that are going to reap the rewards. Okay. And I'm going to run you through all of that now. So enjoy.
You know what? Today I just kind of want to whiteboard some stuff out and put some stuff in your head because there's a lot of stuff changing. And actually, for you guys, there's a ton of opportunity right now and coming your way. And I want to just run through it all. So let me see if I can find myself in this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, nice. Let's run through it. Okay. So, like, I'm seeing four big changes, four big shifting trends. I'm seeing more than that, but like these are really going to change a lot over the next couple of years. They already are, and you don't want to wait a couple of years to be paying attention to them. Uh, let's let's just jump in and let me run through them. Okay. So let's call this the four shifts. And these are four big changes that are happening like underneath your feet right now that you can hop in on. Um, the first one is, let me, the first one is audience. Can I ask you into the chat, please? Would you tell me this? I'm interested to see what you think. It's a weird question that we never think about. What's the definition of a big artist? Because we're always talking about, oh, that person, they're a big artist, or oh, they're a big brand, they're a big. What's the definition of big? Depends on the genre. So, like, pick a genre, and like, let's say progressive house. You're progressive house. What's a big artist? Like, what is it that you're actually looking at? Like, we talk about Solomon's big. Carl Cox is big. That guy, he's getting big. She's getting big. Has a big audience. They have well-known hit records. An international artist. So is it somebody see an international artist is somebody that gets on the plane and flies from country to country? So is that big? Because there's lots of people that do that you wouldn't say are big. Selling out venues. Yeah, if you're selling it out off your name, that's big. Known records. If they attract large numbers. Yeah, Anton, 100%. Headlining internationally. And the word there is headlining, isn't it? Headlining anywhere. Tier one releases and headline. Sorry, I meant global bank. Yeah, 100%. Like, so the first layer on that is really what makes a big artist. And I think really the thing that all of you are saying in different words are it's recognition, which is recognition. It's, when I see millions of plays on Spotify, well, why is that big? Well, because millions of people listen to you. Millions of people paid attention. Lots of followers, lots of people paying attention. Hit tracks. What makes a hit track? Loads of people listen to it. Loads of people play it. Attention, recognition, label, headlining festivals. You're at the top. You're selling the most tickets. Headlining again is the recognition. You're recognized as the one that's going to sell the most tickets, the one that has the most attention if they attract large numbers. Selling out a venue. That's recognition. So it all boils down to recognition. And really, we got to pay attention to that. It's the audience game. Audience is what eyeballs are on you. It's always about that. And in music, it's ears as well. But it's who's paying attention. And if you, the people with the most attention always win. And it kind of gets a dirty name these days because it's all about social media or they're like people brush it off, but it's always been like that. I used to use the analogy of the pirate radio station. Like the pirates that won were the pirates that got their aerial on the highest tower block because they got the widest FM is line of sight. So the higher your aerial, the wider your reach, the more people listen to. Um, it's just these days it's different. There's different ways of getting that. And so it's all about getting recognition. And if you the more recognition you can get, the bigger an artist you are. And it's not a game of smoke and mirrors. It's real. Like if you can get more recognition, you will be a bigger artist because you've a bigger amount of people recognize you, recognition. So like the next bit on that is there's a hierarchy. And we always talk about that. But like specifically today, I want to talk about the audience hierarchy because it's changing. In dance music, it's been a certain way, and that way is not the case anymore, and it's rapidly changing. So, like in the last, let's say, since socials started, let's say, it's kind of been a three-tier hierarchy where you have the headliners at the top. We're just going to put H for headliners. So you have the big artists, and they've always had a big audience, and they've always done well. They've had a big audience on social. We've known that. You see them everywhere, and they're one of the big acts. So we see them in our feeds a lot. We see them all over the place. It's just the way we've come to accept it. And then at the bottom, you have what will we call it? Like the risers, like everybody on here, you're not made it yet, but you're certainly trying. All of the early acts. And then you kind of in the middle, you had this funny kind of artist that it's a mid-tier artist. There was much less mid-tier artists, but let's say it's somebody that's maybe getting 2 grand a gig and is touring around the world and would have records that you know of. Um, but they might have 50,000 followers or 60,000 followers or 70,000 followers. I used to do socials for Dorley, and like Dorley would be kind of like that. He's getting a couple of grand a gig, but he's on all the lineups. You see him everywhere. But still, middle range socials. Can I just ask into the feed? Would everybody agree with what I'm saying there, or do you think is there something that's not there that you're not seeing? Does that look right to everybody? Let's call this the last 10 years. Let me know into the chat. I got 4 people. Half the time I just ask you to type in the chat just so that I know you're awake. So even if you haven't got an answer, just let me know you're awake. Because people have fallen asleep while I've talking to them. It's usually on day 3. It's not this early into proceedings, but that's perfect. Okay. So like it's changing. It's rapidly changing, and it's crazy to see it watch. Okay. So there's this weird thing that's happening there where let's talk about on the bottom tier first, because that's the one. And like, don't take it as any insult when I say most people in here are in that bottom tier. It's nobody here is touring and getting 2 grand a gig and playing 4 or 5 times a week. And it's most people, the majority of artists are in this bottom tier on the triangle. But what's happening is there's this weird gap happening in the middle, where there's a separation. Okay. And there is all of the usual rising artists. Okay, so let's call these before. So these acts are, just they're behaving the same as they always were, posting on socials, doing their due, and it is what it is. But then you'll have seen this with the way the feeds have gone. TikTok did it first, and now Instagram has done it. X are moving towards it. We used to go off followers. Whoever you follow, they're who's going to pop in your feed. And then TikTok said, well, what if maybe we got the AI to do it? Maybe the AI knows better what you want to see than than what you do. And it worked, right? Because when you're in your Instagram feed now, you're not seeing really any of your followers in there, are you? And there's people that I see every day and I watch their videos, and then I realize like 2 weeks in, I'm still not following them. What's starting to happen is I've watched videos where people testing content and they've taken a brand new Instagram account or TikTok account, no followers, and posted a viral video on there, something that they knew would work. And it's done 100,000 plays, 200,000 plays, 300,000 plays. And that's not always going to happen. But the fact that it can happen at all shows you it's a content game. For the first time ever, these people up here had the followers. And you'll remember if you were trying to grow in this time, like trying to grow as one of these rising stars in the last 10 years was tough on Instagram. People were doing follow, unfollow, and like running bots trying to grow their accounts, and that was the most you could hope for. But it's changed. It's if you make good enough content, you can hit the algorithm on a regular basis, and people can follow you and people can really care. Like Bruin, you're on about your man Kirilis. I looked at his page. We shared, I think it was the start of last year. I included him in a training, What's Working in Social Media in 2024. That was in January. He was on like 20,000 fans. He's on six figures now. He's on nearly 100K. And he's getting booked all the time just sharing stuff well on social. So you're seeing this weird thing where there's like, let's call them, for the sake of being cheesy, like a viral riser. So you have the rising artist, and now you have the viral rising artist. Somebody that just gets the content game, and they're putting out loads of reels, and they're actually getting serious views to the point where promoters are seeing them all the time. You've got that recognition, but you haven't got the releases yet. You haven't got the gigs yet. None of that. So your earned audience came off social. Now, the mid-tier artists, they're still there. They haven't changed. And then the headliners are there. They're still doing what they did. But there's this kind of weird thing where, see these viral rising artists, like we've done loads of them on this call. In some cases, if we look at it, I'm just going to say VR for viral rising. In some cases, these artists are getting way more views than the headliners. Like, I follow a couple of DJs on Instagram that they're not, they're not big artists. I never heard of them a year ago, and they weren't really doing much. They're very good at social, and I'm seeing them on my feed all the time. And I see Marco Corola's posts, never. I see the pages off Solomon's posts, never. Now, I do see other people post about those artists, but in this new world, I don't see any of their posts ever. So these headliner guys, when they're posting, now I do see some DJs posts, this is not the case, but the overwhelming majority of headliners posts in the feed, I'm not seeing them. I'm seeing some. And the same with these guys. There's like anything, there's some that get it and have social media teams that get it. Like MK, I see his posts all the time because his social media team get it. He's doing the storyteller stuff. He's in the studio. He's talking to camera, and I'm seeing those. But this pocket here, who beforehand had no hope, all of a sudden can beat any DJ out there with just effort. Is this just IG or TikTok, or could this be YouTube like Chris Luno? 100%. I mean, this exactly. This is Chris Luno on YouTube. He just started uploading mixes, but now he's playing all over the world because he's got 500,000 subscribers and his mixes do 1 million plays. How could you not book that? And so he's an exact example of that. Let me know into the chat. What are your thoughts on that? Use influencer pages to help boost more quickly. They can do. Yeah, they can do. But realistically, what I'm talking about here is more just people uploading really good content to their own channel and it doing really well. Because when you do it consistently, you just like there's one guy, he's in Belfast. I'm not even into fitness influencers. He's a fitness influencer. He's an old guy. Yeah, I just like his personality. I don't know what it is, but I watched a couple of his videos. I liked it. The algorithm gave me more. I liked it, and now half me fucking feed is him. Do you know? It's just everybody stands a chance now. See this here? This gives you a chance to have just as much recognition as a headliner. And so this is the gap that didn't exist before, right? And why this is important is if you're an early stage artist, there's this thing that's kind of fucked now that if you're one of these, you stand you like you're getting ghosted. It's going to be so hard to get booked because beforehand you were competing against the headliners. Now, you knew why they were getting booked ahead of you. They'd more releases, they'd more recognition, they had more. And even the mid-tier ones, you knew why they were getting booked ahead of you. But at least for if it was a 12-hour festival, the first six slots of the day were going to early stars, early risers, the up and coming talent, and you had a shot at those. But now you're competing against these guys, and they have a ton of audience, and you don't stand a chance. Like you'll book some, but these guys are going to leave you for dust. Does anybody disagree with that? Let me know in the chat if you agree or disagree. I see this a lot. People are great at content, getting bookings, but very average releases. Yeah, exactly. 100%. I agree with it, but I'm not a fan of it. But you see, this is the thing. It gets a dirty rap, but why not a fan of it? Like, at the end of the day, let's hop into this actually, because this is the next thing that I'm going to talk about. Because there's another trend that I'm seeing and that you're going to see. Uh, let's hop on to the next one. And that feeds into it. Joe, can I ask why you're not a fan of it? Is it because the releases are more music based or more credibility based, or you've earned your stripes a little bit with the music? I imagine that's what it is because I think that's the usual pushback. Actually, can everybody let me know that? If there was anything wrong with that last strategy, what would it be? Like, what do you not like about it? When you see artists getting booked off the back of just good audience on social. I'd love to know. It's not about the music. Okay. Feels inauthentic and trying to skip steps. Yeah, I think a lot of people will think that 100%. And so I don't look good with my top off. Uh, right. So let's hop into the next one. The next one, and this is gonna hurt some people, but we are like, it's just these are just facts. Okay. So releases. Releases is the next one. And you will see this massively. So let's talk about the status quo. The status quo has been for like the last 20 years, if you want to get booked, you want to be a touring artist, you want to be an international headliner, you want to be anywhere on those top two rungs of the hierarchy, you have to release. Not about the music, and they're not gaining fans off. Where is it? I've lost it. Not gaining fans off actual lovers of the music. It's off content that just resonates. Okay. So the status quo is you got to release, right? In order to do well. Everybody knows that's the case. Now, it didn't used to be the case. If we look at it, let's say when I started listening to music first, there was one type of artist, let's call them art, let's call them DJ A, right? And there was loads of residents and there was loads of DJs that were releasing well-known mix compilations and they were touring and they just didn't release. You didn't need to. There was loads that were just DJs. Let me know in the chat. Does anybody remember remember those years? Is anybody old enough to remember when you just didn't release? Yeah, some people did, um, but it definitely wasn't needed. If you had a good mix compilation, everybody was buying them. You could just DJ, and that was fine. Okay, and so you might have had a resident that you booked for your club, and let's say this was them on the map, right? Your resident that played in your club every single week, their reach might have been like tiny. It might have been, the people locally knew them, but they had no following anywhere. They weren't releasing any music, but they were a really good DJ. And that actually was enough for a while. Uh, and then DJ B came along. And DJ B, like, think about DJ A. There was nowhere really to build a following. Where would you build it? Like, were you going to send letters out? There was no text messages even. Like, where would you build it? So DJ B comes along. There was music press. DJ B all of a sudden starts releasing tracks. And all of a sudden the tracks start getting played on radio or other DJs start playing them. And now they get interviewed in press about their new track. And their reach became huge because more people were engaging with them, more people recognized. It's that recognition thing again. Every time you did a release, you were in Mixmag, and so 100,000 people read you, or you were played on, this radio show, and however many people listened to you. It's the exact same thing. Releases are an audience play. You get your name out there, more people know your music, and so DJ A could never compete against DJ B. And that's why you've seen over the last however long, there's so many DJs whose music has done really well. Look at Fisher. Fisher doesn't make any of that music. I mean, that's everybody knows that. Chris Lake makes it all. It's not even hidden. But that happens way more than you know. And that's just because a lot of DJs can't produce that level, but they have to in order to play the game. And so they'll go in with an engineer or they'll have somebody finish the track. So because they have to. But there's this new DJ, and this new DJ is DJ C. And look at some of these DJs like Kirilis, right? I'm going to use him again. He plays disco and house, plays loads of vinyl, and he just shares his music. He shares what he's at. His audience is just as big, even bigger than DJ B. So if I'm a promoter and I'm looking at Kirilis, I'm going, yeah, well, I see him just as much. He's touching as much people. And here's the thing. I'd put it to all of you. When we say it's not about the music, any of the videos I've seen him share have been about music or him sharing tracks or like there's nothing that isn't music. And we're in a world now where everybody's social. Like most of the DJs that I'm seeing doing well on social, they're not posting their dinner or flexing their arse muscles. They're actually just showing music. They're DJing in the short term format. Like these aren't people that just exist on short form. Your man Kirilis smashes it, but I see him playing gigs all the time. I see him doing, all of these cool other DJ things that all of you guys are doing. So I don't think they're not about the music. I think everything they do is about the music and they're sharing it really well on short form. And because everybody's on short form these days, everybody's buying it. So you're growing this audience and it's just as good as DJB. Every promoter's into it. They want it more. Like if you tell a promoter we've got a release that has 100,000 plays, or we've got a DJ that's dropping tracks on social and he's getting 100,000 views, what's more useful to a promoter? Really, honestly, in this day and age, it's the second one because that's what they want. And there are some people, that their influencers are not in it for the love of music. And yeah, fuck those guys. But trust me, the DJs that win over the next 10 years are the guys that master this. Do your mixes, do your releases, do all that other stuff, be true, but get it right. Um, so that's the new route. So, will you let me know into the chat? This is might make you feel funny, but for anybody that said, it's not about the music or anything like that, would you do it? Would you run like short form series on your socials? Will you push shorts and try and grow an audience around your shorts as you with you being the DJ? Many people do not leave the house anymore, but they still love the music. Yeah. Like look at Fish Octagon, where like he's become a meme now. So whatever you think about him, but really like why that blew up was he was sharing loads of new music, loads of different genres. Bit interesting to watch, but again, he wasn't posting his dinner. He was just posting his Weetabix. Let me know into the chat. With short form video with it doesn't have to be straight away. We've been pushing reels and shorts more this year, but I heard trial reels is something that I should be doing. You should be testing it. Yeah, 100%. So this is the new route, but like obviously you know to do shorts. You know that already. So there's nothing new there. But I want you to just understand this shift that the only way there's only been two routes up until now. Number one was don't produce and you know it's going to hurt you. Do produce, and if it works, it'll do well. But bear in mind, see this reach you get off releases? It was never guaranteed. We all know we've all released and it hasn't done well, and we've got none of that. We've just had this audience, even though we were releasing. So now there's this new opportunity here, and you don't have to do it. But what we want to bear in mind is other people are, and they're the people trying to get on the same lineups as you. And so really it's one of those games. Are you in or are you out? And if you're out, just bear in mind it's going to be tough. It's a content world we're in, and you have to play it. So uh, this is why releases are one option, but now socials can get you booked as well. If you don't have good releases, but your socials are good, you can get booked. There's an extra layer to this. Can I ask into the chat? I'm interested if you're somebody that invests a lot of time into production, how are you feeling about the impending AI? Because enter AI is about to come. And while it's not banging out amazing stuff yet, I think we can all see it's going to be able to produce. It's going to be able to produce. How are we feeling? Stefan, yeah, basically make sure it's presenting the tracks you play. 100%. Check out some of the social training we've done here. It was pretty deflating at the start, but I've got over it. Yeah. Well, look, here's the thing. Here's how I honestly think it's going to pan out. I make music because I like the process, not bother if somebody wants to make via prompts. Yeah, that's 100% the right attitude. It can't be monetized. I got help with AI in the new Instagram feature. Somebody said AI won't take your job. Yeah, so like more what I'm thinking about is just I'm using this as an audience play. Like we think about why we use releases or how we can get eyeballs behind our releases. So you should love making the music. You should love all of that. But think about it just from okay, if I've used the releases to try and get me gigs, like if we look at producers, let me know what you think of this. I think there's like I've seen four categories of producers, right? There's the guys that are trying. So let's say, I mean, you're at it, but you're not finishing tracks. You're not great yet. Then there is, and I'm even going to say this line here is wrong because it's like this. There's the majority. So like you're able to finish tracks and you're getting tracks out and they're okay. they're sounding like, you know, dance music, but they're not lighting the world up. Like they're not that magic. And then there's like at the very top, there's two layers. So there's like the really good, and then every so often there's special. You know, like Tom Starr has that star player villa over here in Ibiza. For years, there was always this saying, you know, the biggest artist in the world, he's made their tracks. There's so many tracks that you love. He actually made them. They called it sprinkled a bit of stardust. You know, the DJ would flesh out an idea and then you'd bring it to Tom to sprinkle the stardust on it and he would make it because whatever it was about his ear, he has it. It's that special touch. Now, I think AI can't touch the guys above. And so if you're one of those guys, you're going to make your music stand out. You're going to be able to bring the ideas. Probably if you're above here, you're going to be safe. But if you're in this window and you're making music for the purpose of it standing out and being better than everything else and riding that wave, you're probably in trouble because in 12 months, 18 months, whatever, there's going to be AI that can produce slightly better than you. And now you're losing that advantage. Let me know in the chat if you agree or disagree here. I know it's a touchy subject, but I'm just kind of looking at facts more than. And so, yeah, what comes into play here is that if you are actually somebody that has good ideas and you care and you know you're putting some heart and soul into it, well, you know, you'll be all right. But it's bearing in mind that the vast majority of the people, AI is going to be able to beat them, right? So where does that come into play for you? Uh, well, there's one other aspect here because the releases typically got us the audience, and as AI kicks off, my point here is as there's more and more and more and more listenable dance music, there's there's more competition for the plays. You've already seen. Has anyone seen the controversy with Spotify creating like 10% of Spotify apparently now is AI generated music that they've created and uploaded so that they can keep the money and people weren't noticing. They can't make copyright. They can 100%. You can copyright AI. If you make it, you can copyright it. Uh, and so if we enter mixes, we flipped it. And so for the last 10 years, the only way to get an audience was with releases. Now, with YouTube exploding for DJ content and them investing like everything into it, it's becoming a real platform for DJs. And so, not that you want to give up on releasing. Don't take this wrong. You absolutely should go all in on your releases, but now mixes are another viable route for recognition where they weren't before. So many people had abandoned them for recognition to the point where the mix nearly became worthless. Let me know into the chat if you agree with that sentiment. Did you feel over the last 5 years or whatever that doing a mix and sharing it kind of felt worthless, or did it feel like it got you something significant back? I'm talking about SoundCloud here. I'm talking about Mixcloud. Yeah, like last 10 years. Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody has a DJ. And because of, I mean, YouTube, it's a different, people feel they treat it differently because you're on the screen. There becomes a relationship there where I would never listen to an unknown DJ's mix on SoundCloud if I never heard of them before. On YouTube, I will. And so there's that discovery there. Okay. So let me know into the chat on this one. What does this mean for you? What do you take away from this? If you're a really good producer, maybe it means that you know you've got an advantage and you're going to be able to pull ahead because it's just there. If you're mediocre, maybe you still do it, but it's time to realize that it's not going to be where you grow your audience. Let me know in the chat what you think it means for you. I don't have to release because I'm so good on three decks. Well, you're getting an audience on the YouTube videos, and if you don't like to release, you don't have to. What do you take away from that? Maintain releases and double down on YouTube. Yeah, you see, the releases bring the credibility. Like, whatever about, they're always still going to bring audience. But what this shows is just that there's another route. Now, the goal here is not to stop releasing. The goal is to do both routes. Imagine if you still do the killer releases and you grow the audience. Now you're ahead on both fronts. Okay, you know what? We're running tight for time. We still got two more. So let me see. I'm gonna jump into one more. We'll do one last one, and maybe I'll tease it, and uh I'll do the next one to start next week. Okay. This is really useful for all of you guys. It's on the lineups, and I'm seeing this. I'm seeing a new announcement every week on this. Uh, Let me know into the chat. Do you think are headliners worth it? If you're a promoter and you're spending all that money on a headliner, do you think they're worth it? No way. Yeah. And then there's another topic that I'm seeing. I've seen three different promoters, two based in Ibiza, share this thought. Uh, Stacked lineups. So a lineup where you're squeezing in hour-long sets all night and maybe even squeezing in back-to-backs just for the sake of getting another artist on the lineup. Do they hurt the vibe? Do you think they hurt the vibe or do you think they add to the vibe? I've seen events do just as well without headliners. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Hurts the vibe immensely. It no doubt hurts the vibe. 100%. It hurts promoters because they've got to pay them all. It's the way it's gone. There was a time when one headliner was all you needed, and then you would have resident support. Then it was two, then it was three. And it's got to the point where, like, even here in Ibiza, you'll see I had a call with Ibiza Rocks, who traditionally they just book headliners all summer. They're not doing it this year because they can't compete. They're looking at the other clubs and the fees have gotten so high. They're doing a couple of things, but they can't compete. And we're seeing so many promoters saying the same. There was one promoter yesterday I seen announced they're not announcing any lineups anymore. And so they said, you know the vibe, you know what to expect. We promise you it'll be killer, but no lineups announced. Now, you know what that means, don't you? That means they might have surprise guests, but it means they're going to save on talent. They don't need to book headliners all the time if they're not announcing the lineups. We've seen some places that are announcing, look, we're not announcing any set times, so you've just got to arrive. Promoters are struggling, clubs are closing, and headliners are really expensive. And we're seeing it more and more. And here's what happens. It's always like a trend. You always see this with trends. You know, a few do it, and then the others see, and it just takes off. Right now, I think we're here where some promoters have started to announce that they're not announcing the lineups, and the others will see that that's okay, and you'll see more and more events do it. Now, what does that mean for you? That means there's if it's not headliner driven and it goes back to being promoter driven, where they do it the old way. Now, you're still gonna have loads of headliners, don't get me wrong here. But what I mean is if there's a trend here or even 10% move this way, that opens up a world of events for you, a world of opportunity for you, because if they're not having to book the headliners, they're open to looking at other talent. It becomes an easier play. And if you've done number one right, if you've got some audience right, you've got some releases right, if you've done one of these two, you're going to be able to capitalize on this trend. Now, headliners are still going to be around, back-to-backs are still going to be around, stacked lineups will still be around, but it's been the status quo completely. If you're seeing any big events in clubs that are, completely secret lineups, those are all opportunities for you guys. Um, and then let's look at the last one really quick. Income. Can I ask you a question? Give me the honest one in the chat here. How have you felt about you being an artist and trying to like just trying to actually sustain yourself as a full-time artist? Like, do you think it's really possible? Have you felt it's really possible to not have a day job and to do your whole life that way? Mortgage, pay all the kids, have a great life, holidays. Yeah, did it for 1 year. I'm talking about looking forward into the future and never needing another job. It is possible. So but I'm asking you how you feel. Have you felt it's possible? It's 100% possible. Okay. But here's the beautiful thing, right? Whatever you think about the audience grab, you have to get on it because it's the game. Promoters promote, labels promote, DJs. It's a marketing driven economy. And here's the thing. If you are going to get yourself an audience, be that on YouTube, be that on socials, wherever, audience equals income. That's the way it works. Now, you have to stack some stuff on top of your audience, but that's marketing 101. I have an audience, so I'm going to sell some stuff to them. Or maybe I have some stuff to sell and I've no audience, so I'm going to go and get an audience. But get an audience equals money when you have products to sell. And up until now, if we look at these DJs, like this guy couldn't sell anything because he had no reach. But see, number two also couldn't because you can't put an ad at the end of your release, can you? Like 10,000 people might listen to your track, but I mean, did they even know it was you when they heard it? They're like, did they know where to go? Could they buy anything? You know, it was much harder. If you're going to have an audience on social or on YouTube or anywhere, you can make proper money off that. Um, and that's an opportunity that really hasn't existed for DJs in the last number of years. Your main way of making income was bookings. If I get booked, I get paid. If I don't get booked, I don't get paid. And I'm not making any money off the releases because Beatport pays very little and Spotify nothing. But here's the thing. There's also another trend. I don't know if anyone knows your man Jack from Patreon. He's a musician, but he runs that site Patreon. So he did a study recently of all creators fans, not just music, but all creators. 82%, I'm going to say just consumers will pay. 82% said that they were more than happy to pay the creator they followed. Now, it was usually music. Sometimes it was photography or whatever. Beforehand, everybody thought everything was free. You know, everything, the first 10 years of the internet, everything was free. But we've moved into this sort of thing where 82% are willing. They don't want to pay for the free thing. So if you're giving away free mixes for the last 10 years, they don't want to all of a sudden pay for them. Or if you're giving away, you know, they want a new thing. And so if you've got like subs, let's say you're doing a Patreon and you're doing like the Broder guys, they launched the membership. It's $9.99 a month. You get, you know, the sample packs, or you get early the releases, or you get whatever, you know. So subscriptions, like member subscriptions. Chris Luno has one and does loads through it. Merch, sponsorships. If you have an audience, all of a sudden, music, literally on Bandcamp, music becomes profitable now. I know people that they're not big artists. They make decent money on their Bandcamp because they market it well. And so all of a sudden, if you have this audience, you can make money off it, which you couldn't before. And this is only going to explode as, let's say, anybody that's trying to sell music, sell merch, sell subs. Beforehand, you were up against Defected. You were up against Toolroom. You were up against really nice looking brands with marketing teams. But AI is now going to level that playing field. Because if I don't know if anybody's watching any of the design stuff, but like you can have your design look amazing now through AI. You can have it build out Shopify pages. If you're selling sample packs, you can have it write the emails. You can have it, you know, and it's only going to accelerate. So if you're somebody that wants to have a store with sample packs that looks nice with good marketing and all of that, now it's way, way easier. So you're going to see more people doing it. So the opportunity is there where it wasn't before. And we're going to see a wave of DJs who've built themselves up a little following on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, and a back end with some merch or some subscriptions or some sample packs, making 5 figures a month. You know, I already know people that are making quite a bit off sample packs, but you're going to see this explode. Let me know into the chat if need to capitalize on this before it blows up. This is the whole point of this call, right? Whether you like any of this or you don't, and I know some of it, like with the release, some of it might not be good. Maybe you don't like where it's going. The point of this call is to say is that this is where it is going. These are the trends we're seeing explode. One of my big regrets is I was on TikTok when it started and I never capitalized on it. And everybody that really did blew up, you know, and it's not as good of an opportunity now. Um, get focus on this while it's early. So how do you capitalize on the lineup one? Well, Jack, really where I think you capitalize on all of them is in this window. It's the audience first. Like if you have the audience, everything else works. Because as this trend happens, really this is more to be mindful that this is happening. And as you see these events announced, I would be approaching them. But it's also just there's not so much you can do to capitalize on this event, except know that this trend is happening and it's going to be easier for you to put on events. The pressure to put headliners is on. Is less. People will be more likely to buy tickets on a headlinerless event if it's more of a trend. Um, but it's more like a cry to action to say, you know, don't sleep on this one. And here's why. There's a couple of trends that are moving. And if this happens in the next couple of years, you'll want to have had your audience built. And if this release thing becomes less prominent, um, not less like the releases will still be important, but there'll be other factors that promoters take into account. Well, then you want to have the audience as a backup as well. But the audience feed into the releases, don't they? The audience feed into the income. So like it's the thing that tips everything. Let me know into the chat what was most useful, scary, annoying, interesting about this one. I just really want to outline it because I think we see it and we know some of these things are happening. But when you look at the four together, the four work together. If you can get spot on releases that are really good, they're going to win better than ever because all of the mediocre producers, they're, you know, AI is beating them. The audience thing has a chance to put you on lineups that you couldn't have got on before. Let me know into the chat. AI is making all my hard work for nothing if anyone can make a track. No, Kenny, that's not true. All your hard work could be the thing that separates you from everybody else. Because if everybody else is making music through prompts, everybody else is going to sound similar. You know, it's audience is key to capitalize on everything. It really is. I mean, I'll never forget when I had Wonderground running, I emailed a club in Tokyo called Womb. And I'd never been to Tokyo. It's the other side of the world. Womb was one of the biggest clubs in the world. And I mailed them and said, hey, I don't know. I'm mailing you from a website called Wonderground. And they mailed me back going, of course we know Wonderground. And to me, that was the maddest statement ever because I'm like, of course you know Wonderground. It was like Tokyo, the other side of the world, but it was just audience. It was audience reaches everything, you know, it opens up every doors. Got to make an AI character out of me and live forever. The income funnel and the AI for fluff. Okay. So I'm not just going to scare the shite out of you and and like leave you with this. We're going to deep dive. The trainings that we're going to be focusing on over the next couple of months are all around these. Capitalizing on that YouTube audience, on that social audience, and making sure that you're not the guys that people look at going, that fucker got big off social and it wasn't about the music. You want to be that person that's DJing on social, sharing music on social, but also a great sets on YouTube and the music and all of the good stuff. We want to use it in a positive way. A positive I've taken from this evening: we are no longer held captive by labels or big brands. That's it. This is the thing, that the playing field is level, but remember that it's level for everybody, but not everybody's all in yet. They will be in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. If you get in and really go hard at it now, well, when the majority are going at it in 2 years and 3 years' time, you're going to be way ahead. Okay, nice. Let's get cracking on these. We'll be working our way through these over the next couple of weeks and months. Sorry for running over. Let's smash it. All right, guys. Can you unmute and just give each other some positivity, please?
Go smash it, people.
Well done, troops.
Thank you,
See you
Warren.
later, everyone.
Go on, guys.
Go get it, everyone.
Thanks.
Let's
Let's
go.
get it.
Let's get some trumpets.
Get some profit. Okay. Somebody's getting paid for once. All right, guys. See you later. Have a good one.
See you later, Mikey. Cheers.
See ya.